don't have a horse in this. I'm not advocating for any one particular entity.
Right.
What I'm concerned about is the integrity of the process. At a time when we are essentially hurting for every dime in this budget, to have a process like this unfold where there's an assertion that $30 million was forsaken because there was a favorite technical scenario that seemed to lean towards a certain candidate.
What I wanted to say is there was no predetermined...
And I also rise because I am concerned that when we vote, we cast our vote on the integrity of the process. And so I have a number...
Was there a request to have these technical discussions recorded?
I do not recall if there was a request to record.
Okay, Tudor is saying that there was a request to record the technical discussion, so we have to take that as that there was a request.
Agnostic as to who Perini, Clark, or ABC Company is. I want to focus on the process and was it a fair and appropriate process for us to let out a contract, especially a contract of this matter.
What you see here is a man who came to us and said he had a very upset, and that man is not here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alarcon.
That's all well and good, Mr. Labange, but I believe there is a reason we have to vote on this as a group. There's a purpose here, and Mr. Cardenas reminds me the city of Bell could heed some advice to not always pay attention to their staff.
All of a sudden, someone stands up and says, hey, what's going on here? Oh, okay, it has been reviewed by our city attorney. We must rely on the staff. If we're going to look at every contract that comes through this city hall on who gets it and who doesn't, that's what we have professionals here. And I'm proud of the general manager of our airport, the director of our airport, and the staff that she has.
Do we have any document? Was there a transcript of the conversations of the technical discussion?
There is a transcript of each issue that was raised.
No, I'm asking, was there a transcript of the technical discussion in whole? We have no way of knowing whether whether there was a fair... The accusation by the contractor that is protesting is that staff did not fully inform Tudor Celebro about the weaknesses of their proposal as it did the other proposers. And that enabled the other proposers to submit a final bid that was much more akin to what staff would have wanted. That is the allegation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And now I'm asking, do we have any documentation to demonstrate that that was not the case?
I believe
and
the
after
answer
this
to that
answer,
is yes.
Mr. Rosendahl will be our next speaker. Go ahead,
yes.
Please.
The answer to that is yes. And here's why.
What is that documentation?
There were very specific allegations of inadequacy.
I asked for documentation. What is the documentation?
Mr. Alarcon, your time is up. If you can press your button.
I want to answer to that question.
Well, otherwise we'll wait the answer.
Indicate that they didn't do
Yes.
what we asked.
We, as I mentioned before, Mr. Alarcon, we had identified and we wrote down and we have documented the deficiencies that were noted in the draft technical proposals. We took those written documents and we read each deficiency verbatim at the review with the individual proposers. Now I can tell you, as part of that documentation, there were 83 items brought up for discussion with the Tudor Perini team regarding their design.
And just so we're clear, we have documentation on every one of those 83.
Of those 83 items, 35 were identified to Tudor Perini Corporation as being potentially fatal flaws in their design. Of those 35, 13 were not corrected in their final proposal.
Honorable for you to have the Clark team stand, because I now have a question where it relates to diversity, because I saw no diversity at all.
We allow Tudor Perini to get back into the process, to redo the process for a final consideration, and then come back with a determination based on all the information, not to slow down the process, but just to have the final understanding. Now, if they're irresponsible, you need to tell us.
And I
you're
think
not
that-
telling us, you're just making accusations.
Thank
Do
you.
I
I
have a
want to
second?
be very clear about it. There was a qualification stage that indicated that gave the proposers an opportunity not only to submit a design that met our criteria, but then to get critiques on that design and to try again. Tudor Perini failed. They did not make the grade. The fact that later we found this irregularity on the weather data, which was only submitted with their final submission, which is why it wasn't caught earlier, is simply something that went to the trustworthiness, and Councilman Krikorian, I think you brought this up. It is a dilemma when we find that there is significant question about the integrity of what has gone on in a submittal and a proposal process. It was a dilemma for our Board of Airport Commissioners as to whether to stop the process or not. But because our process is pertinent only to the contract, once Tudor Perini identified that they were going to withdraw their proposal, the dilemma was we were going to look like we were punitive if we prosecuted it forward to a hearing. And because they were requesting that we not do that, we didn't do that. So it does appear that there was a difficult way. I mean, it's really difficult to figure out what was the right thing to do here, because either way there was going to be a great deal of criticism that could come our direction. We got the best proposal at the lowest price by having a 3-stage process that ended in a bid. But only the people that got into that 3rd stage were the ones that met our performance criteria. I think we don't want to have, I'm not hearing from the council that you want us to relax our performance criteria on this project. If that's the case, then I think we need to hear that clearly from you. We were clear on the performance criteria. We had 2 proposers that met that performance criteria. We asked them to bid and we took the lowest bid.